Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. My name's AJ. So let's start with Djokovic, shall we? And I must admit, when I first read this story, I literally fell out my chair laughing. I just literally laughed my head off. I just found it absolutely hilarious. So let's go through some of these articles, shall we? Djokovic being crucified and held prisoner in Australia, says father. Serbia is demanding Novak Djokovic get moved to a nicer hotel because he doesn't want to be in a hotel with other asylum seekers. He's not in detention, he's in prison, Djokovic's father says tennis star has been crucified. Novak Djokovic's dad calls the Queen to intervene and protect human rights of tennis star's son after his arrest. So the brief history is Djokovic went to Australia for Australian Open to play that, and he got held in customs because he wasn't vaccinated, and so he's been put into a detention camp with other asylum seekers and things like that, and all hell has pretty much broken loose. Australia's sticking to its guns, and Djokovic's father is going absolutely crazy. So I'm going to show you a clip of Djokovic's father going absolutely nuts.
He's not in detention, he's in prison. They took all of his stuff, even his wallet. They left him with just a phone and no change of clothes, nowhere to wash his face. He's in prison. Our pride is a prisoner of these idiots. Shame on them. The whole free world, together with Serbia, should rise. This isn't a battle for Serbia and Novak. It's a battle for 7 or something billion people. For freedom of expression, free speech, freedom of behaviour. Novak didn't break any laws, just as 7 billion people didn't break any laws. They want to subdue us and throw us all on our knees. It won't fly. Freedom, Novak. We're all with you.
So let me start with Djokovic himself, then I'll go into Australia next. So first of all, Djokovic has got no legs to stand on. His father talks about freedom. This is freedom of justice, freedom of rights, freedom of expression. But does he have the freedom to go around the world infecting people when he has COVID? So, first of all, he hasn't been vaccinated himself, so I agree with that. He shouldn't be allowed in a country. It's not one rule for one person and the next rule for world's number one. If you're not been vaccinated and you've had COVID, it's your responsibility not to spread the virus around. So, there's this article on the BBC which shows that, 16th of December, he's had a positive COVID test, and any normal person would isolate themselves, but not Mr. Djokovic. What he did, you can see on the 17th of December, he's going around shaking people's hand, no mask in sight. He's going to all of these events while he's got COVID. As you can see, he's going to an award ceremony on the 17th of December. 18th of December, he's having a photographic session with loads of kids. And as you can see from this picture, you can see all of these kids he's taking a picture with. He's not wearing a mask. None of the kids are wearing a mask. He's probably at the back coughing, sneezing, coughing his guts out, spreading his germs. It's an indoor location. So I've got no sympathy whatsoever. I don't care if you're the world's number one. If you got a positive COVID test, you have to self-isolate, not only for yourself, but for other people. This is really selfish, spreading the virus, especially when the virus Omicron is being spread. And it's people like this that are spreading the virus around the world. I don't care if you're the world number one. So his dad preaches freedom and all of that. So are you free to spread your virus to the world's population? Is that what your freedom of expression is all about? Djokovic was one of the main instigators in getting China banned from WTA. So, as you know, Peng disappeared for a while and the whole world was blaming China for it. Djokovic and WTA were coming online and they were going on to newspaper articles and they were clamoring for China to get banned from, as part of the WTA, and that's what they did. WTA banned China from all the matches being held in China because she was missing. When she was not missing, she's been seen on interviews. She's been coming out on public appearances. She's denied making any sorts of statements about having affairs and all of that. It's all the West just trying to put a bad name on China. It's just fake news. And this is why Djokovic says, I support fully the WTA stance because we don't have enough information about Peng Shuai and her well-being, he said on the sidelines, adding that her health was one of the most importance to the world of tennis. What about everybody else's health when you're spreading your COVID to everyone else? What about the world's health? Seriously, I don't know what this guy is on about. He's got no respect from me whatsoever. So he clamours for freedom, he clamours for human rights. But the funny thing is, he went to Australia to play this Australian Open tennis tournament, and he got arrested and put onto these asylum camps like the rest of the asylum seekers. So as you can see here, he's been bumped into a quarantine hotel with other asylum seekers, and some of these asylum seekers have been kept there for over 2 years, some of them even been kept for 10 years. I'm going to get onto that next, so don't you worry. So going back to WTA, Djokovic was one of the main guys which stopped WTA from playing in China. And as you know, since Peng Shuai has been seen in many public events and she's shown her face, she's not shown to be missing. Not only have they not apologized, but they haven't even reversed the decision. The decision still stands. It's absolutely beyond me, guys. And now Djokovic is getting the exact same treatment from Australia. He goes to Australia and he's got no freedom. He's been arrested and he's been put in a quarantine hotel with other asylum seekers. And it's absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. If this was China, trust me, this would be blowing up on the world stage. People will be saying, look at how China's treating our very own Djokovic, blah, blah, blah. Totally totalitarian state, bunch of dictators. But because Australia has done it, yeah, they're clamoring around, saying there's no freedom, Australia's bad, this and that. But have they banned any tennis tournaments from Australia? No. Tennis tournaments will still carry on. While WTA has banned these games from China with no evidence whatsoever, but when it actually happens for real, when actual tennis players are being held without any court case, without any evidence into these asylum places, then nobody's clamming for banning any games in Australia. No, we wouldn't do that. They're the West, they're our friends. But when it comes to China, it's a totally different story. That's what he's called double standards. Absolutely double standard. I'm not letting Australia off the hook here, by the way, not by a long shot. I mean, look at this article here. The Djokovic saga has thrust Australia's cruel treatment of asylum seekers onto the world stage. So like I said, he has got it lucky. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of fan base. He can make a lot of noise. But there's asylum seekers in Australia being held there for 10 years, over 10 years, and they have got no money, no power to do anything, and they're being held with no reason, no charges put against them, no court cases, nothing. And he's from someone from the ground. Watch this.
Djokovic, will you speak out for us when you are released to get on with your life? Will you tell the world how we have been at the mercy of Australians' cruel immigration system for 10 years? We can no longer breathe inside this torture center. I was brought to Australia for medical treatment in 2020. Since then, I have not been able to get any good treatment without Panadol. Mr. Morrison government, why are you keeping us in this torture center for almost 2 years for no crime? What is the reason? And still we have 34 innocent people in this park prison of torture center. I would like to tell you, the Australian government, 10 years is enough. Please, enough is enough. Is there anyone can tell us who can give back our 10 years, our young life. My only request to the government of this beautiful country was freedom and safety. Today we want justice from you for our 10 years. Please, we want support from you. We are all mentally ill. We are all physically ill because of this torture.
As you can see, obviously English is not his first language. What he's trying to say is he's speaking out for all of the asylum seekers who are stuck in that hotel. Looks like only belonging they have is a phone. They've not got any other belongings. They can't get out of the hotel. And some of his colleagues have been there for 10 years. He himself has been there for 2 years. And he came to Australia for a medical reason. And he's been stuck there in that hotel, the same hotel as Djokovic. And he's not released out. And all of these asylum seekers are also not released out. And this is exactly what you call a detention camp, or shall I call it a concentration camp. These are the lies which the West has been purely putting onto China, saying China's been holding all of these Uyghurs in concentration camps, all of these detainees detained in concentration camps against their will, when there's no evidence whatsoever. But when you see the West doing it, especially Australia doing it, and there's purely evidence here. And you can see how these asylum seekers, or these people who have got no money, being held against their will with no court case, no trial, and some of them have been held for 2 years, some of them have been held for 10 years, and they are calling it torture. They're calling it, concentration camp. They're calling it being detained. Even Djokovic's own father is calling what Australia's doing is inhumane, is against human rights. And they say he's in prison. So yeah, fine, Djokovic has got his money, he's got his lawyers, he can get out of it. But what about all of these poor people who are stuck there for 10 years? What are they going to do? How are they going to get out? So the West likes to paint a picture saying China is holding all of these Uyghurs, millions and millions of Uyghurs in concentration camps with no evidence, when there's evidence clearly showing that the West is doing it, or particular Australia is doing it, to people with no money, who've got probably not much significance to society. So they thought, let's just hold them for as long as we want. And it's just double standards there, guys. Absolutely double standards. When the West tries to paint China with one thing, the West are doing exactly what they are blaming China for, especially Australia. They're saying that China's holding all these people against their will, but what about Australia holding all of these asylum seekers against their will? This is exactly what you call double standards. And I'm sorry to say, Australia is wrong here, and Djokovic is also wrong here. They're both full of double standards. They're both hypocrites. Djokovic going around the world infecting other people with his COVID. He's also clamoring for organizations to stop playing in China, while he gets held in Australia himself. So he deserves it. And then you got Australia holding people against their will for 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, against their will, just because they've got no money, asylum seekers, and they're blaming China of doing the same thing. It's absolutely hypocritical for both of them. I have no love or respect for Morrison's government or this Djokovic guy. The hell with both of them, that's all I say.